Now batting for the New York Yankees, the shortstop, number 2.
Welcome back. This is episode 178 of the NYYST podcast. I am your host, Christian. As always, joined by my co-host, Stat Guy Rye.
Wow.
What up?
Wow.
Yo.
And I'm getting my ass kicked in the game, so I got bumped down, Chris.
Boo. You suck.
Love it.
You have fueled the fire this week. I've been waiting for this moment since last week when I was embarrassed on the show.
You were legitimately embarrassed.
I was.
For people playing at home, this will be week 3 of the Battle of the Brothers. Guess that Yankee. And right now, Chris is getting smoked 24-7 by Stat Guy Rye.
Yo, listen, let me say something.
I put on a near perfect show last week. Let's go.
Let me say something. We've had a lot of requests by our listeners that they want to join in on this. So if you're listening right now, if you listen to us on iTunes, if you just follow us on Twitter, if you don't listen on iTunes, leave us a 5-star rating and in the review, tell us you want to join, and then we'll put something together maybe. Especially if these owners and players can't come to some type of an agreement, we don't have baseball. Maybe we'll put something together where we can do it across, our listeners. What is it? Fan base, listener base, whatever, where they can join. I think that would be cool.
So yeah, good idea. 5-star rating review. If you want in on the game, leave us a 5-star rating review. Say that you want in on the game, and we'll, even if there is baseball, we'll put something together.
You ever watch the what is it? The Beast? What was it called? That show?
Yeah, no, the guy's name is
Stump
the Beast.
Oh,
no.
You're talking about the.
Yeah.
No, there's a game show where there's a fat British
Beast.
guy, and his name is the Beast.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I don't know if that's the name of the show or not.
Ryan will be the Beast if he continues to.
With that,
if Ryan continues to kill me in this game,
the
chase. Ryan could be like the Beast, and people have to go up against him.
Yeah. Perfect, dude. I like that. That's great.
All right, so before we actually get into the crux of the show here, we're going to, we've been talking about coronavirus for God knows how long. So, this is not, we don't ignore world issues or what's going on in our communities or country. So, I do want to use this platform to say this, and it's that, and I just want to leave it at this. I don't want to make this show all about this. If you guys want to add your own words to it afterwards, that's fine. But we don't have to make this a whole show about it. I do just want to say this, that it is okay to support the police. It is okay to support the black community. There are plenty of good police officers out there. There are plenty of good people out there in the African American community. We shouldn't stereotype people based on the actions of the people that do wrong. As Chris Rock has said that in the past, that the police, being a police officer, is like the one job that you can't have a bad apple in, because it ruins the bunch. It ruins it for everybody else. And it's true, because my wife is heavily involved in running things for the PBA in her town. I have family members that are cops. I wouldn't come out here and say they were good people if they weren't, but they are. And it's a shame that the actions of a few bring down the many. So it's okay to support the police. You're not a racist if you support the police. You're a racist if you're a racist. Okay, if you can't at least at the very least sympathize with what the African American community is going through, then you might be a racist. And that's where I lie with this thing. I'm fully in support of the protest. I'm fully in support of the police. You can be in support of both.
Absolutely.
What you cannot be in support of is racism, and that is where we have to draw the line.
Because do you know who else is in support of the protests? The police, the good police officers out there, because we've seen proof of it. And the biggest problem in this country right now, regardless of what you may think it is, it's all the different things that are dividing us. And part of the reason that these things divide us are not actually based off of facts. And instead they are based off of ignoring the facts, if I post something that showed that, I say it's a beautiful thing to see that, we're in New Jersey, the Camden Police Department standing with the protesters and leading the way with them, that's a beautiful thing, that I'm all of a sudden, someone to blame for this whole problem. And that just can't be okay. That can't be accepted by anybody. Just like what happened to George Floyd should not be accepted by anybody. No one. One bad cop is too many. One bad cop who does that. I'm sorry. There's been plenty of unjust killings between, black people getting killed, white people getting killed, Hispanic people getting killed by police. But this one was different for me. This one was just, regardless of what George Floyd had done, to put your knee on someone's neck while they're begging for their life, saying they can't breathe, and just completely ignoring it is a disgrace. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and have to defend myself for being a white person in America. Because guess what? I'm with you. No matter what color your skin is, if we have the same morals, if at the end of the day, we don't want to see any racism, any police brutality, we don't want to see anyone discriminated by the color of their skin, then we are together. Regardless of how we get there, we are together. So stop. The separation has to stop. And I don't blame the people for it. I blame the media. I blame a lot of people who have a lot of power in this country of the narratives that they push to deliberately separate us. And that's the truth. I'm someone who bases a lot of things off the truth. And sometimes if the biggest argument to me so far during all of this, even though I've done nothing but support the black community in this movement and say how disgraced I am, the biggest argument back to me is I don't know what it's like to be black in America, or that our country was evil and there was slavery. And you're right. You are right. But you know what the beauty of this country is right now? That not one black person or white person living in it knows what it was like to live during slavery. Not one. We can all sit here and learn about it, and we can say how much of a disgrace it is. But we should all be together. If you have good morals in this country, which most people do, you do not stand for any racism. You instill that in your children. And you do not tolerate what we saw this past weekend. End of story. And if you can agree on those things, on those morals, then there is no reason why we should be fighting with the people who have those same morals. And once that stops somehow, then maybe we can all fight this together. But I was saying, me and Ryan, before we came on, and this is the last I'll say, I know we don't want to make the whole show about it, but the history of this country, the history of anything, whether it be evil or something beautiful to be inspired by, is important. Because if something's bad, you don't just act like it was never there. Those are things that you have to look at as, I never want that to happen again. I never want to. Sorry, Ryan.
Sorry. No, they're mistakes, and you have to learn from your mistakes of the people that came before you. Those are blatant mistakes and that we need to learn from. That's the thing,
right? None of us made that mistake. No black person made the mistake of doing anything to get killed during slavery. None of us right now have made that mistake. We don't have to learn from a mistake in this sense, but to learn that this is what this country was about back then, and we can never allow that to happen again or even come close. So it made me think, and you just keep progressing through the history to where we are now. And me and Ryan were talking about, the Civil War. You had over 2 million people, 2 million Americans, not just white Americans, black Americans too. They fought to to stand with the North to end slavery. Over 2 million people, Americans in this country, fought to end slavery. More than 500,000 died for it. Imagine if the slaves back then said to the white people trying to fight that, no, they got this because you don't know what it's like to be a slave. Or if the white people said, no, you don't know what it's like to deal with white people, we'll handle this. It wouldn't have worked. They wouldn't have won. They needed each other to fight it. You needed, no matter what the color of your skin was, you needed to be together and fight for that one goal together to end what the South was about at that time. And they did that all the way back in, what was it, 1860 something?
1865, I think, was the end of the Civil War.
Yeah, so it was 1860 because it was 5 years.
How do you know the end of the Civil War, but you can't figure out when I give you clues from the Yankees in 2000?
Because my brain works in weird ways. But, I mean, what the hell was I even just saying now? So wait, no, I'm not rambling. So this is my last point. So back in 1860, you had white people and black people fighting together for the same cause. Now it's 2020. We all want to fight for the same cause. And anyone who doesn't, I do not want to be around, nor will I tolerate. And that's what this country as a whole needs to start doing. Stop getting defensive towards people. Hear them out. Hear their feelings, whether you agree with them or not. And then let them know that you're with them, regardless. And that's it. And I think that's what it will take.
Anything you want to add, Ryan, before we move on?
Nah, you guys you hit it on the head. I agree with what the points you two are making. It's really, for me, the main thing that I want to see come from this is that all the police, the unnecessary use of force, it needs to start to be held accountable. And that's something that we won't know until, we experience it. But that's for me, the biggest next step is to hold people accountable for their actions, because it seems in the precedent that has been set in police brutality, the lack of accountability is the driving force. It's not being held, not having consequences for your actions. So for me, that's the thing I would like to see the most change. And I totally support the fight for that.
I think that's the biggest step. And again, we can't, everyone's mad that a lot of people are mad that he's only getting possibly a second degree charge now and not a first. But you also have to remember that they can't shoot too high with this, because if they go in with a first degree charge, I'm not saying that it shouldn't be first degree. I would be fine with that. Of course, I think he should get the maximum of anything. It was disgusting. But what I'm saying is, if they go in at first degree,
but I'm not a lawyer, and as far as I understand, first degree murder is you had that on your mind all day.
Okay,
I'm going out to kill somebody.
Well, you're right. That's part of the problem. Is that
I don't think they can probably charge him with that. And they already bumped up the charge from from third degree.
So this is what I'm talking about when I say that instead of looking at the facts and looking at what's real here, most people let their emotions get the best of them. And that's not always a bad thing, but in cases like this, it is, because if you understood what first degree murder was and they did what you wanted and charged him with first degree, he would probably get off scot-free. He would not be guilty of first degree murder. That's just not what first degree murder is. Now, to Ryan's point, that's my number one thing. I think these cops that do these things to anyone should be held more accountable. And in all the research that I've been doing on all this, the biggest problem that I've noticed is that most times when a cop kills a civilian, it's the own police department that's doing the investigations.
Yeah, okay? That's the problem.
They're not releasing the names of these police officers. They're doing their own investigations. They're putting them on leave. No. It should immediately.
You need a third party arbiter to come in there and without bias. It's tough to do, but it's doable.
Yep. And that
because that union is super, super strong.
Absolutely.
The union of the police.
We'll leave it at this, and this is the last I'll say on it, is nobody condones police brutality. Nobody condones the rioting. You condone protesting, and you stand with the police department. You stand with the protesters, and you don't stand with racism. And I saw some. I'm not going to take credit for it because I've seen hundreds of other people tweet it. It's racist versus everybody else. Pick the team you want to be on.
My favorite tweet ever. I actually never retweet anything, and I retweeted that. It's everyone versus racism, man, and that's how it has to be. Regardless, and I'm not saying that that doesn't mean I'm not listening to the black community. I hear you, and I understand you. But what the main goal is, we need to fight together now. It's everyone versus racism. That was my favorite tweet ever.
Now we'll move on to some less serious business, because as in there might be no business, as in Major League Baseball.
Do you remember when the Astros shit happened and we just talked about the same thing over and over because it was just like this downward spiral of fucking Twilight Zone bullshit? That's what this is becoming.
Can I read a Joel Sherman tweet from yesterday? Here's what he had to say. I have heard greater pessimism today from folks on both sides about MLB launching a season than at any point. People who previously thought the sides would find a way, now expressing at least greater doubt, often even more than that. So it's not looking good.
Well, the players came back with a proposal after we did our last show. We're recording Thursday night, today's the 4th, right? So they came back with a proposal, and what did they want? 114 games, I believe it was.
Yes, it was
That's
114.
what they came back with. And the owners basically told them to shove it up their ass, which you knew they were gonna, because they've been between 50 and 82 games this whole time. And the reports that you hear is that the owners don't even want to come back with a counter proposal, which backs my argument from last week that the players stand to lose more, because the owners are willing to play chicken here and not play next year.
Just because they're being stubborn doesn't mean that they don't have more to lose. And Evan Roberts did a whole 20 minutes on it the other day, agreeing with me.
I don't care what Evan Roberts did.
Because
he said it, now that means it's gospel?
No. I'm just saying that he agreed with my take on it, that
so you two can go run off.
Listen, because he made a great point. This is not just going to affect baseball in 2020. This is going to affect baseball for a long time. And I'm telling you, the owners at the end of the day will be fucking kicking themselves in the ass for not making this work.
I think everybody will be kicking themselves in the ass for not making it work. But the fact that they're willing to, that as of right now, they're not even going to counter what the players did, shows to me that they don't think that they're going to stand to lose as much as the players do in their minds. Now, maybe you feel differently what might actually play out, but in their minds, they feel that they can withstand this more than the players can. Or else, why wouldn't they be willing to go back to the table and come back with something? And I don't know if we talked about this on the last episode, but then they come up with the 50-game proposal, and then they said they'll prorate it.
It was after our last show.
Of course you want to prorate 50 games.
Yeah.
Now you prorate 50 games because it's back down to a third of what you wanted to pay him in the beginning.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about via text. The original kickback from the players was the whole revenue share taken out of their salary on top of a 50% salary cut because of half the games, and it cut it down to what, them taking 30% of their salary instead of 50. And then the owners, instead of actually coming back with a respectable offer for this negotiation, they come back with, okay, keep your revenue. We won't take any because of revenue out of your pockets, but we're only going to do 50 games. Well, what did that do? That put us up to what, 33% of salary now? It is the same thing. It was more of a slap in the face than people realize.
So, I mean, we're coming down the pike here where something's got to give. We got to come up with something, whether or not they're going to play or not this year. Because if you want to start on the first weekend of July, which is July 4th weekend this year, you got to get going here because the players are going to need 2 to 3 weeks of spring training. We're already through we're basically through the first week of June here. So there's got to, within the next week, I'd say we're going to have to come up with a yes or a no. And gun to my head, will they play? I think when you get down to the 0 hour, they'll come up with something. Because I think both sides really, at the end of the day, are going to understand that neither one of them can really afford to miss the season. Whether or not you want to argue who's going to, it'll be worse for, but neither side can afford to miss the season.
I think I'm sure I flip-flopped on this matter a couple times, but I feel like I've stood pretty firm in saying that I didn't think they'd come to an agreement this whole time, that it just wasn't going to happen. I think that was more based off of the logistics of it, and now it's just based off negotiation. But the worst part about this now delaying,
I'm going to put you on timeout for a second. Ryan, while he's talking, do me a favor, because the NBA agreed to their return to play proposal today. Can you look it up in full? Because I want to go over the whole thing real quick.
All right.
Thank you. All right, go ahead. Chris.
I think the worst part of this right now is that most places now are allowed to start working out and whatever. Like in New York, the Yankees were told that they can now get together for baseball activity. So is that
in New York, or they have to do it down in Tampa?
No, I think it was in New York. I'll look it up while we talk, but I'm pretty sure. And is that happening at all? I mean, just because the players and owners can't come to an agreement, are the players still showing up if they can to work out and to take swings? And, is that stuff happening? I haven't seen
heard anybody. I don't think they're going to show up until they have an agreement to come back to play.
I got the NBA stuff. You want me to talk about it?
Yeah, let's go over this real quick. I know.
So it passed today. It was a 29-1 vote. Only one team voted against the proposal. That was the Portland Trailblazers.
I was going to say the Warriors because Steve Kerr would be like that.
Yeah. Like that. All right. So under the plan, 13 Western Conference teams out of 50. There's originally 15 in each. 13 Western Conference and 9 Eastern Conference teams will play only 8 regular season seeding games, a possible play-in tournament for the 8th seed, and playoffs at the Walt Disney World Resort. Top 16 teams in the Eastern and Western Conferences will be joined by teams currently within 6 games of 8th place in the 2 conferences.
And you know why they did that, right?
Why?
Because they wanted to get Zion Williamson in the Hornets.
Oh, well, you got the Pelicans, Portland, San Antonio.
No, I'm sorry, the Pelicans. I still get them confused because they used to be the Hornets.
Yeah, now they're Charlotte, but Charlotte didn't make the cut, and I think the Knicks didn't make the cut.
No, the Knicks didn't either.
Yeah, but so yeah, I mean, it should be interesting.
But didn't they say that's? I was reading. I saw something today that said that the finals will be in October. For this,
yeah, I think the mid-October would be the finish. Yeah, July. The season will continue, and it'll be from July 31st to October 12th, and then so October 12th would be the last game, I guess, of the finals.
And this is why I'm bringing this up. This Major League Baseball. October's their time to shine.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be sitting dormant and letting the NBA take over.
They're going to take over.
Well,
they're going to take over.
Well, not if what was the one proposal that would have taken the regular season through April 29th or something, October 29th for baseball? That would eliminate that problem. Yeah,
but they can't do that because you can't have the postseason in November. It's impossible.
Well, if you do it at neutral locations.
But the plan is to play in home stadiums, and then you're just going to move the postseason to
then you can't do it. Then you can't do it. I have the state of New York here, according to the governor, of what he's allowing to resume and as far as pro sports go. He said this was back on May 20th, I believe. Horse racing and auto racing can resume June 1st without fans. As for baseball, governor says that's up to MLB. So
this sounds pretty interesting with basketball here. There's going to be a play-in tournament for the 8th seed. The play-in tournament will include the number 8 and number 9 teams in a conference. If the 9th seed finishes the regular season within 4 games of the 8th, in that case, the number 9 seed would need to beat the number 8 seed twice to earn the playoff berth. So it'll be like a legitimate tournament. And then
Yeah,
what is that called when you have a double elimination kind of thing? I don't know.
Double elimination kind of.
Yeah, like a round, double elimination.
Round robin, yeah,
yeah,
round
but
robin.
no, it's a double elimination.
But I would go ahead.
I just think that I would be cool with that as a basketball fan, only because they played most of the season at this point. Like they played a lot of the season,
Right.
So at this point, you have a lot of teams established and who was
Same
on
goes
top.
for hockey.
And then you just kind of make it cool that you're missing the rest of the season, but you know what? Let's make it fun. And at the end of the day, most teams that are going to be in the playoffs would have been anyway.
Are they doing because I heard this on the radio on Wednesday that they're just going to play the next 8 games on your schedule, and if that team is not invited, you just skip to the next game. Like the Nets' next game is supposed to be against the Warriors, so they're not invited, so they would just go to the next game.
Interesting. I'm not seeing. I'll look into that, but I feel like that would be hard to do for the schedule.
Yeah, but that's gonna eliminate a lot of games, which is what they need because they're confined to only so many places to play at this point.
The NBA's got a bunch of cockamamie way they want to give home field or home court advantage. That they were talking about flying in the actual court they use say Boston.
Oh yeah,
and if Boston's the home team, then they would actually use that court from the TD Gardens Arena.
Listen, if you haven't done this in your life at least once, YouTube a crew putting together a basketball court. When it's, if a basketball and a hockey team play the same arena, when the hockey game's over, if they have to get it ready for the basketball game, how they put that court together and how quickly they get it done. They could definitely do that.
Yeah. So here it is, what you were talking about, Christian. So if a game comes up against a team that wasn't one of the 22 invited, you just skip over that opponent. So 4 teams, the Lakers, Heat, Magic, and Blazers, cannot reach 8 games by the conclusion of their schedule because, the teams are eliminated that they're facing. So they'll likely fill in those 4 teams' final games by pitting them against one another. But it's not official yet, they're saying.
You know what I wonder? It's probably nothing that we could ever find the actual answer to. I wonder if the NBA is compensating those teams that aren't invited. Because you have to imagine that if the season's going to resume, that those owners that aren't invited are going to be pretty pissed off because you're still losing money.
I don't think so. Maybe the owners, but on the team
that's what
level,
I'm saying. The owners.
I heard I don't forget who exactly said it, but they said why are we coming back if we have no shot at this thing? I would rather not play at all.
No, yeah, I think on the players level it's fine, but as an owner, I'd be like, wait.
But I think
you're going to resume and you're just telling me I'm not invited anymore when I should have had X amount of more games to play?
But they're not playing in their home. They're not playing in home arenas. They're playing at Disney World. And there's so few games left that advertising and all that type of shit has been pretty much paid out already. And I'm sure there's some type of revenue sharing stream that whatever these other 22 teams are getting, the other 8 are going to get.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm sure there's something. And you think when they designate the home team at the Worldwide Sports, do they get a cut of whatever sold during that time?
What are they selling? There's not going to be anybody there.
What about vendors? Oh, right. Wait, even in Florida, they can't have...
Because I heard a clarification on this in Texas. Remember last week we were talking about that they would let...
Yeah, 25%.
But because Houston has a retractable roof, and I don't know if they put one on the new stadium where the Rangers are playing in. But it would have to be open air. They would not allow the roofs to be closed in those stadiums if they were going to allow fans in.
Damn, you know what sucks? This is supposed to be the Rangers' first year in their new stadium, right? Or is it next year? It was this year, right? Yeah. Just think about all the shit that was made with the year 2020 on it for the inaugural season that no one's even going to be there to buy, and you don't even know if anyone will even be allowed at any games this year there. That's crazy.
This is probably a stupid question, and I don't know if there's an answer has been given to this, but going back to baseball now, the players are the employees of the owners. Why can't the owners just say, you're coming back to work and just fucking deal with it? Here's what it is.
Because they're a union.
This is what this country has. This country has a union problem.
Yeah, no, listen.
Did I just alienate half our audience?
Yeah, listen.
Talk about the union.
Hey, you know what?
Jimmy Hoffa just turned this podcast off.
This is for the last 2 years. The first time I've been working since I was 15 years old. This is the first in the last 2 years. The first time I have not worked in a union job. So I get it. I understand the protections that they provide for people. But I'm just saying, like, come on now. Even with the union, if my boss told me I got to come to work, I'm coming to work.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You're talking about a lot of people who make a lot of money for these owners, that they have a lot of leverage to stand together and fight against. It's probably.
I'm just saying, it should be. In my mind, it should be a lot simpler. Like, your boss is telling you to get your ass back to work, so go to work.
Yeah, listen. If that were the case, that'd be great. But again, where I'd say this, right? Given that theory, that thought, if it weren't about the money in any way of like what they're negotiating money wise, they probably could say, look, come on, we're starting to play. This is it. Right. But because the money's involved and they're trying to take money away from the players instead of figure out how the players can make a good portion with a shortened season, that's when it gets tricky, and you can't go until
you bring up a good point there with the money, and this is why it's so much easier for the NHL and NBA to come back.
Yes.
Because their seasons were nearly complete. These guys have basically gotten their entire salaries for 2020 or 2019, 2020 seasons. The MLB players haven't gotten, well, they got whatever they agreed upon to cover them through May, but they haven't played, so they haven't gotten anything yet. So this is where this becomes an issue. If they had stopped 2/3 of the way through the season, it'd probably be a lot easier. We probably would be, coming back with something here, but they're starting from scratch, which you would think would be easier, but it's actually a lot harder because of the money situation.
Is MLB the only major sport that's going to have to deal with that problem?
The NFL,
I think.
I mean, we don't know.
See, but the main difference for me between the MLB and you could link NFL, NBA, and NHL all together is the whole salary cap thing, because that's where the NFL might have an easier time, because the contract structure of players is already built off of revenue, which is exactly what's getting in the way of the MLB owners and players coming to an agreement.
I thought Chris was just referring to like having to start from scratch here.
Yeah. Well, but that still has to do with it, because my point behind it was the starting from scratch is tough because the players and their salaries and everything. Really, you'd have to imagine at this point that even if the NFL can't have fans, they're going to start on time.
You would hope so.
Yeah, baseball is in such a weird place because not only is it the one sport that needs the most time to build until the season starts, so all these players are missing that time to get ready. Now, when they finally agree, they're going to still need some time until the season starts, and then no fans are going to be there for the whole year. I mean, that's tough to wrap your head around.
Look, at the end of the day, these two sides need to come to an agreement. It's going to screw that. They're going to screw themselves and the fans over if they don't come to some sort of agreement. Somebody's gonna have to bite the bullet on this one. Somebody's gonna have to swallow their pride. And the owners, they should, honestly, I keep flip-flopping on it, man, because I just want fucking baseball back. I really do. And in the last 3 weeks, I might have said 3 different things regarding this. The owners just gotta say, you know what? We'll pay you for what you're gonna play this year. And if the players don't like it, then that's the players' problem. I can't walk into work tomorrow and tell my boss, I'm going to work 2 hours today, but you're going to pay me for 8. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, no, look.
So that's why the owners say, you know what? I think let's play 82 games this year, because I think if you played July, August, September, you can probably get in a little bit of October, you can get to 82 games, you play half a season. We'll give you half your salary this year. How is that not fair?
Look, when you texted me and Ryan and said the owners came back with a 50-game proposal, I immediately said that's it. It's over, because the owners coming back with a slap in the face offer like that is just, you're just going so far apart at that point where, yeah, the players do have to sacrifice. They do have to sacrifice some of their salary and time and whatever for the owners, but the owners have to also. And to come back with something that was so unfair at that point, after the players made it known how upset they were about taking 30% of their salary, come back with 33% and take away the thing that they were arguing against, but still have it at 33%. That was a big slap in the face, and it made the players say, fuck you. And now the owners are what? Sitting on their high horse telling the players they can go screw now?
Yeah, the owners said they're not going to change their minds either. They're not negotiating.
And then you know what?
Counter.
I do not blame the players one bit if they don't say, okay, boss, I'm coming to work then, because that is so unfair. It is not even close to being okay. You want to give a little bit more to the owners and say the players are sacrificing a little bit more than they should. Fine, you just suck it up and you do it. But this offer is so one-sided. It is ridiculous, and I do not blame the players one bit for not agreeing to it.
You just got to lock them in a room.
If baseball does not start, it is the owner's fault, not the players.
I would tend to disagree and say that it's both sides have to feel some type of blame for this.
And I got to say, we just got done talking about powerful people in this country saying certain things that, they really shouldn't be. Let's talk about guys like Blake Snell with that video. I'm sure that didn't help the cause either. Like, I'm sure the players speaking out the way Blake Snell was, like, you think I'm going to come back and risk? You think the owners aren't thinking about the risk that the players are taking for them? And even if they are, you don't come out and say that you're thinking that.
Look, man, it's easy to send your troops to war when you're sitting in an ivory tower,
Yeah, when they're not part of a union.
So that's the one. That's why this is why I will side. I will 100% side with the players if they come out and say we will not play because we're afraid of the virus. And I have no argument with that. But they're not saying
you're wrong.
that.
You are
Excuse me?
So you think they should just take 33% and be done with it?
Listen to what I'm saying to you, you fucking idiot. Okay. If their argument, why they don't want to come back is because of the virus, I can't argue with that. But they're not saying that. There's no help.
Right.
Yeah, no, I know.
This whole thing is about money. Nobody's helping.
You said that weeks ago, Christian, because I said I think it's going to come down to money, and you said how disgusting it would be if that's the case, but it's playing out that way.
No, I'm not saying it's not about the money. That's why I'm saying Blake Snell's comments like that were idiotic. It is about the money, and right now, I can justify the players making it about the money because of the unfair proposal that was given to them. If it was even 40%, I'd say, okay, done. But the fact that they were openly upset about the 30%, and then you come back at 33 with just taking away the whole revenue thing, that's the owner saying, okay, we listened to you, but go fuck yourselves. That's all that was.
It's like okay, like the ice cream truck pulls up and your mother hands you $1, and it's not enough to get the ice cream that you want, so she hands you $1.25. So I gave you more, and it's still not enough to get you the ice cream.
Exactly. It is exactly like that. And you know what? Fuck you, Mom, for not letting me get my ice cream.
Whoa, Ryan, he said, fuck you, Mom, bro. How do you feel about that? That's your mom.
Is it your mom?
Take it out on you in the fucking game later, bro.
I'm just kidding. I forgot we can't say shit like that, especially right now. I apologize, Mom. I love you.
Your mother doesn't listen to this show.
No, she doesn't listen to anything.
Absolutely not.
Before we actually get to the game, the Japanese Baseball League was actually getting ready to start on June 15th. And I heard this morning that their superstar player, the MVP of their league last year, it's not Tyler Austin. I think he plays on that team, though. Didn't Tyler Austin go to the Yomiuri Giants?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ryan, maybe you can Google this real quick and get his name.
Yeah.
He has coronavirus, this dude. It'd be like if Mike Trout got coronavirus.
Shit is real.
But they're not good. They're not planning on stopping. They're just going to quarantine this guy. One of his teammates has it, and they're just going to keep rolling.
That's exactly what they should do.
What's his name, Ryan? Did you find it? Yom Kippur. No, that's a Jewish holiday, buddy.
His name is Hayat. Dude, every website it gets blocked right before I could read it. It's Hayato something.
Are you watching Japanese porn? It keeps getting blocked.
Because I have ad blocker. And they pick it up. So,
are you looking at compilations?
Are you one of those weird kids that watches anime porn? Like
me or Ryan?
Yeah, I have.
Real
I have
people
one of my
don't do
tabs,
it for you anymore.
One of my tabs.
I didn't know anime was an actual comic. I thought it was just strictly porn.
So his name is his last name is Sakamoto, and there's another guy, Oshiro.
And one of those guys is like
Hayato Sakamoto and catcher Takumi Oshiro.
Yeah, Sakamoto is like he's like legit.
Yeah,
he's
was
like
the Central League MVP last year.
Yeah, so it'd be like if Mike Trout got the
virus. Damn, dude.
So.
I bet you Mike Trout's better than him.
I don't know. This guy's a shortstop.
Do you remember when Matsui did the home run derby when he was? I think he played for the Giants.
He did.
And he did a home run derby against Barry Bonds the year before he came to the Yankees.
I didn't know that.
Like Yomiuri Giants are you? They're Yomiuri Giants.
They're the Yankees of Japan.
Okay, asshole.
I'm just trying to get you fucking fired up, baby, because I'm fired up right now.
You're the one that needs to be fired up.
I'm fired up.
All right. So I want to apologize to our fans here because I don't even know if anybody's actually getting to the show segment, the game segments, because our shows the last couple of weeks, aside from the banter in the beginning and the game at the end, have sucked. I'm going to say it because I'm so sick and fucking tired of talking about the owners versus the goddamn players. So I'm not, I don't know. You guys can overrule me on this, but I'm going to pull rank here as a guy that usually formats the show and what we're going to talk about. I'm not talking about this shit next week unless there's an actual legitimate news of, yes, we're having baseball. Here is what it is, or the owners and players have put a nail in this coffin. I'm not talking about it. I have a poll sitting here for 2 weeks now. I want to get to. I'll run other polls. We'll do round 4 of the game. I want to have a fun fucking show next week.
All right. So
I don't want to talk about this shit.
Can we also agree on this? Even if there is something we need to discuss, we can bring it up in the beginning of the show, but we don't get into discussions until after the game is played. Like, we can bring it up that we're going to touch on it after the game if it's that important, but we get the game. That's our main source of content next week.
See, we're scumbags like that. That for people that want to listen to the game, we're making you listen to the shit part of the show to get to the good part of the game. It's like back in wrestling, back in like the early 2000s when they make you watch women's matches before they got to like Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock.
Oh, I'll be right back.
I love Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's like the only wrestler I actually liked.
But now, like women's wrestling is legit, so you don't want to actually run to the bathroom like Ryan did.
Yeah, he felt very uncomfortable when you mentioned women wrestling.
Do you see what's in the background of his room right now?
Yes.
You see this thing? That's a fan, right?
Oh yes, that's a fan. Yes. What about it?
He owns one.
Yeah.
How many times has he?
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. And he's like, I don't have a fan. About how fucking cold or hot he is up here. Who's in the picture up there? Is that Whitey Ford?
I thought he said that was from Don Larson's Perfect Game.
Oh yeah, yeah. He doesn't even know.
So we'll just bullshit real quick.
I think you should just start giving me questions and give me an advantage.
I'm not going to give you an advantage.
Why don't you tell me some of the players so I know?
I'm not telling you any of the players.
What do you want to discuss? You wanted to bring something up.
No, because we were just briefly talking about the show Community because Ryan did the pop earlier.
Pop.
Now it's on Netflix now, so I went back and watched it. I said I wasn't going to binge any more shows, but there's really legitimately nothing else to do right now. So I started watching Community again.
There's legitimately nothing else to do. You have a 1-month-old at home.
that just sleeps, eats, and shits. And then how else do I fill the rest of my
Isn't
day?
it crazy that they're just like machines when they're born, and it's just the same thing day in and day out? Don't you wish you could just eat, sleep, and shit?
It would probably save me a lot of stress if that's all I had to do.
Yeah.
You're starting to see a little bit more of her personality come out now.
Yeah, I could tell in some of those pictures. Hopefully it's your wife's personality.
Yeah, okay. First of all, my wife's personality is like I thought she was outside. Even if you think that the baby looks like my wife, you should just say that it looks like me.
Okay, because she is starting to look like your wife now. But if you want, because I'm loyal to my friends, I will continue to say, never mind.
It agitates her to no end.
Okay.
Like she's absolutely like
I'm
upset.
definitely gonna do that.
If
Okay.
people say that she looks like me, I'm like, okay. Like you married me, idiot. Like obviously find me attractive if you married me. Like why would you be upset if your daughter resembled me? Like, but she's just like, I cooked her for 10 months and she doesn't even look like me. Like where's the payoff in that?
I know we just talked about the bullshit fluff and getting to the game, but did you see my comment on her one picture where Ava's on her shoulder and like her face, you can't even really see her face in the picture? Did you see my comment on that?
No.
I was like, oh, she really actually looks like you here. She was so pissed. And then I gave her a couple this past week that she is starting to look like her now.
I still can't figure out who your youngest looks like. I can't put my finger on it.
It's my father-in-law, man. She just looks like my father-in-law. It's crazy.
Like Jack, when you leaned back and cracked your neck before, I saw Jack.
Yeah, me and Jack are identical.
Because your heads are like the size of bowling balls.
No, it's the ears.
It's also your heads are humongous.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, I'm talking shit about your nephew. You gonna say anything to me, bro? You want to step?
I couldn't care less about that kid.
Kid was fucking crying the other day because he forgot to say goodbye to you when we left.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's like, oh, I didn't even say goodbye to Uncle Ryan. Now next time I'll just tell him, well, Uncle Ryan said he doesn't give a fuck about you.
All right,
that's good to see him again.
Let's get to the game here because
I'm first this week, right?
No, that's not how this works. I actually got to bring.
Right.
Let's see.
I've won the kickoff every week at least.
You get no points for it though.
Yeah, I just get to lose the first question.
I'm just gonna unplug my headphones for this segment.
Christian gave me all the names already beforehand.
Now I
just have to match them with the questions he gives.
All right. So we'll run down the rules real quick again. 7 players this week. We're back on that. You get 3 points if you answer after the first clue, 2 points after the second clue, 1 point after the final clue. You have 3 passes per week. If you don't use your pass and you guess incorrectly in all 3 clues, you lose 3 points. Chris is getting his ass handed to him. It's 24-7 Ryan as we speak. Chris needs a big week. I'm losing hope that you guys are actually going to play for something because Chris is scared that he's going to lose now.
No, we still will play for something.
I still think it should just be you having to dye your hair half the color of the winner.
I agree with that. I'm on with that.
All
right. So the loser has to dye his head half of the color that the winner wants him to dye it. Any color.
All right, deal.
All right. You both are in agreement of that?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Ryan, the only thing he really wants you to do is cut your hair. I'm saving.
Right, listen, it doesn't have to be permanent dye, but if we're going to get the one that washes out, it's got to be the one that lasts for at least, 2 weeks or so, or a week. Okay?
Long enough that we could put this on social media.
Yes.
So you're going to go to work with half your hair dyed pink?
I'm not going to lose. So.
Okay. All right. That's tough talk right there. So let's get started here. We'll go with player number. Actually, here we go. In Aaron Judge's record-breaking 2007 season, he led the American League in runs scored. How many runs did he score that year?
123.
Ryan, what's your guess?
124.
Ryan gets the Duke.
It's 135. Oh, wow.
All right.
That's scummy. That's just a scummy play. This
The old
isn't
Price is Right
Price is
play.
Right.
It's on Bob Barker. Well, actually,
All right, here-
Christian would be Bob Barker in this instance.
Maybe I'm Drew Carey.
True.
No, you got to go classic on that one.
You
Definitely
can't
gotta
be
go
Drew
classic.
Carey over Bob Barker.
I just said you got to go classic, bro. Shut up. I tailored this game to your knowledge this week, so.
Yeah, let's get that out of the way for everyone listening.
What's Bob Barker's famous line from Happy Gilmore?
The price is wrong, bitch.
Oh, yeah. The price is wrong, bitch.
Well, Ryan, you used text to talk last week to cheat, so I had
It's
to
true.
make Chris.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, here we go. Clue number 1. I appeared in the World Series in each of my 4 seasons with the Yankees. And remember, you have 10 seconds to guess.
Wait, he was only on the Yankees for 4 seasons?
The clue states that I appeared in the World Series in each of my 4 seasons with the Yankees.
Luis Sojo.
Incorrect. Chris, do you want to hear the clue again, or do you want to make a guess?
One more time, I want to hear it.
I appeared in the World Series in each of my 4 seasons with the Yankees.
Nick Johnson.
No. No. All right. Clue number 2. I had the worst batting average among major league qualifiers in 1997 and then was traded to the Yankees for Kenny Rogers.
Paul O'Neill.
No, that is also incorrect. Chris, do you want to hear the clue again?
One more time. I got it. I got it.
All
Scott Brocious.
Yes, it is Scott Brocious.
Good job, Chris.
So that's 2 points.
How come you don't get excited when I get a question right? But last week you're laughing and you're smiling and you're
He doesn't
clapping.
like you.
No, because the ball was rolling down the hill. I got it. By the time we got to like round 6, I was just like, wow, you're getting your
Well,
ass kicked.
immediately the two things I thought were who was a bum that was like a superstar in the playoffs in the Yankees and who came in 1998, and then I got it.
So who went first? Brian did. So this is Chris's clue. I won the Cy Young 7 times with 4 different teams.
Say it one more time.
I won the Cy Young.
Roger Clemens.
Yeah.
God, I mean, how much easier is that going to get?
Well, I'm
Well,
sorry.
if it was your question.
You should have
All
just
right.
said Susan Waldman gave a huge speech about me when I returned
Well, that
to
was
the Yankees.
one of the-
owner's box.
Was that one of the clues?
One of the clues was I was in George Steinbrenner's box.
I always say, I was at that game, right?
Yeah.
And there was a bench clearing brawl that day.
Took me out of Houston.
When that came on, man, because if you know me, Roger Clemens, before the whole steroid shit came out, was my favorite pitcher ever. Award number 22, everything. When he came on the screen, no one had any idea. I went fucking nuts.
All right, well, Ryan, can you go? Wait, it's Ryan's turn, right?
Yeah, I'm up.
All right, can you go nuts for player number 3? The Yankees traded me along with 2 other players to Montreal to acquire Javier Vasquez.
Jeff Nelson.
No, that is incorrect. Chris, do you want to hear the clue again?
Please.
The Yankees traded me along with 2 other players to Montreal to acquire Javier Vasquez.
Montreal. Nick Johnson.
Who's cheating now?
I swear to God, I swear I'm not cheating at all. I said him before and he popped back up and I was like, I'm pretty sure, because Nick Johnson was there when the switch was made to the Nationals and he was still on the team.
Right.
So he
Good
came
guess.
to my head.
Good pick.
Damn, someone's on fire.
All right.
What's the score now?
You just earned yourself 8 points, so it is 24 to 15. Player number 4. This is
Who's
Chris.
up here? Yeah, Chris.
All right. The Mets traded me to the Yankees in 2003, where I pitched just 9 games before being traded to Seattle for Jeff Nelson.
Michael Pineda.
Yeah, that's the answer.
No. Shit. I wish I didn't say that.
Give me a clue again.
All right. The Mets traded me to the Yankees in 2003, where I pitched just 9 games before being traded to Seattle for Jeff Nelson.
No, it wasn't him.
All right, your time is up.
Yeah, I'm gonna
or
pass.
guess? Pass for Ryan. We're on.
I know
round
the
number-
answer, but I'm going to take the clue.
The clue is I have the second most saves in Mets history.
Oh, I don't know who it is. The second most saves?
That's the clue, and your 10 seconds are up. So guess or pass.
Wagner.
No, incorrect. All right.
It's Armando Benitez.
It is Armando Benitez.
Oh, I forgot that scumbag was a Yankee.
I loved him, but he sucked for the Yankees.
Actually, he didn't. His ERA was like 1
Really?
something. Yeah.
Oh, but I guess he didn't play. He didn't pitch there that long. So
No, just 9 games. So
yeah, wow.
All right. Who's up now?
Man,
Brian. Okay, this is player number 5. I didn't miss a game in my first 3 years with the Yankees, and then missed 111 in my 4th season due to a broken wrist.
Mark Teixeira.
It's incorrect. You need to hear the clue again.
One more time.
I didn't miss a game in my first 3 years with the Yankees, and then missed 111 in my 4th season due to a broken wrist.
Oh man.
Aaron Judge?
No, that's very incorrect.
I think I know it, but I'll take the second clue if you don't mind.
All right, the second clue is I was on the 2009 World Series team and received my ring on opening day 2010, but as a member of the Angels.
Oh shit. Hideki Matsui.
It is Hideki Matsui.
I know, I'm so pissed.
I was actually gonna go with Cano for some reason, but then once you said the Angels line, obviously.
All right, we're down to our final 2 players. Ryan is putting a little bit more distance. He's now, 28-15. So Chris has made a
Listen
little
to you,
bit
your
of a-
voice cracks when you talk about how well he's doing.
He's proud of me.
All right. I'm very proud of Ryan. I am.
Thanks, bro.
It's my younger
All
brother.
right. All right. Chris goes first here on this round.
Mhm.
Yes.
I debuted with the Yankees in 2005, but in my first 2 my first 2 full seasons were in 06 and 07, and I won a combined 38 games.
Jabba Chamberlain.
No.
Good
Not-
guess though.
Ryan, do you want to hear the clue again, or do you want?
Yeah, give me the clue.
I know
Give
it,
me the
mother.
clue again. I don't know it.
I debuted with the Yankees in 2005, but my first 2 full seasons were in 06 and 07, where I won a combined 38 games.
Wow, it's either this player or this player, but I'm gonna go with Chin-Ming Wong.
It is Chin-Ming
Bang!
Wong. Chin
Bang,
Ming
bang
Wong.
into the room. I know you want.
Was your other guy Phil Hughes?
Yes, it was.
Yankees.
But the whole, I think Wong set a record for most wins in his first 2 years
He
with the
did.
Yankees. He had back-to-back 20 games wins, winning seasons or something.
All right, so who's
Wait,
up?
was one of those clues about his career-ending injury? I hope.
It was.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't really career ending. He did pitch after that, but
No, it ended his career.
Like how this game show is ruining Chris's.
You know, people don't talk about Chiming Wong enough. How fucking good he was until he slid into home plate and
he
fucking.
didn't slide in home plate. He just busted
Whatever.
his shit up. All right, who's up? Last player for the week.
Ryan.
I think I'm up.
All right, I have 2 brothers that also played in Major League Baseball.
I mean, it has to be. It has to be Jose Molina.
Yeah, it's Jose Molina.
Jose, 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 Jose.
If I would have led off with the second clue, I wonder if you guys would have gotten it. It would have been, despite only hitting 39 home runs in 15 seasons, I hit the very last home run in the old Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, I would have got that.
I would have gotten that.
I was being vague,
But But I will say it would have been more difficult. Like, I would have had to think a lot more if that were the first clue. But I would have gotten it.
I didn't want to say catchers because that would have definitely given it away. All right, so Chris had a good run there to start. He added 8 points to his total to bring him up to 15 points. But then Ryan stormed back to add 3, 6, 8, 10 points to his total to 34. So Ryan is now leading Chris by 19 points in the game for a score of 34-15. Chris, you actually fell behind worse this week.
Jermaine, dye your hair pink.
So you can earn a total of 42 points in the last 2 rounds. So you're pretty much going to need all of them here.
I think I'm going to go with the old Two-Face look for Chris. You know, we'll do half the hair like a pinkish purple we'll stick it up a little bit.
You know, I shouldn't say
Maybe I'll
this
burn
because
half his face.
it's gonna bite me in the ass if I lose. But be smart about what color you give me to do. I have dark hair. You know? So
yeah, I'm gonna do pink.
Okay. Hot pink?
Yeah, probably a nice warm pink.
If I do lose and I have to do hot pink, it's got to be at least in October, so I can justify with my work why I have pink in my hair.
Nah, I asked you before we started. I said, "You're really gonna go to work with it," and you said yes.
No, I said
Chris,
I'm not gonna lose.
Are you gonna puss out if you're mathematically eliminated next week?
We could just do a little. We could do a little patch of it. We could do a little patch of your hair.
If you're mathematically eliminated next week, will you still do the final week?
I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, here's what we should do. We should, if someone gets mathematically eliminated now, that's
because
not fair.
Ryan can't be mathematically eliminated. If you score all the points next week, you'll be up 36-34.
Right.
So the only way that you can take a lead going into the final round is if you take all the points next week.
I think I'll be okay. I really do. This week, honestly hate the 10-second rule.
First of all, it's not even real 10 seconds.
How about this?
By the time I look up and then decide that I'm going to say anything, it's like 15 or 20 seconds.
Like the first week I won because, you know, when we both actually have a minute, I'm clearly smarter, but my brain doesn't work well with the
under pressure.
With the time. Yeah.
So, bro, what, we want the podcast has to be 2.5 hours because you need 15 minutes after each clue?
Yeah, that's like saying in baseball, like, all right, for Mike Trout from now on, we're gonna give Mike Trout 6 strikes to work with. It's no longer 3 strikes because he doesn't do well with the 3 strikes.
That's why when you're like, oh, I'm great at Jeopardy, and I'm like, okay, fine, you're great at Jeopardy, but then you're like, oh, I have to pause.
We can sit and watch Jeopardy and pause it, and I'll still answer every question before you.
But that doesn't mean. But what does that mean? Like you not playing the game to its rules. You're like, yeah, okay, give me this.
I'm playing my own Jeopardy. I'm not on the show.
We could give Chris 20 seconds next week if you really want. If you want to give him 20.
When my wife and I watch America Says, you know, I'm spitting out fucking answers.
Yeah, dude. It's also a pace of play here. We're trying to get the pace up.
America Says is one of the most childish game. Like you could be a 12-year-old and spit out answers. Try and watch Jeopardy and answer just 3 questions. I bet you
First
can't.
of all, you're missing the point. The point is that I don't sit there and pause the fucking TV.
You know, talk about kicking someone.
Can we change the name of the podcast to "You're Missing the Point"?
Yes. Talk about kicking someone when they're down. Like you just fucking gloat all over Ryan doing well, and then you just fucking put me down. Clearly, you have an agenda to push. You don't want to see me win.
Last week I was cheating. This week it's an agenda. Next week it's Russia.
Or China.
Hey, Chris, you will lose.
You fired.
No, that's Russia. That was from Rocky IV. That was Ivan Drago. You will lose.
I got it.
Ryan got it.
I won.
That's why I'm tailoring the game to Ryan, because he gets it.
As long as you're admitting it.
We were colluding. Ryan and I colluded to let you get the first three to think that you were going to win this week, and then we just was like, "Screw it, we're going ham on the end of the game here."
You guys laugh, but I wouldn't put it past you.
This is how sort of a loser you are. That you actually, your wife called me the other day. Do you know this? That she called me privately and said that I need to speak to you because you lost in Chutes and Ladders and you kicked the table and threw the Chutes and Ladders board against the wall.
Let me tell you something. My kids think I'm going to let them fucking win a game. They're out of their minds.
You lost.
No, I didn't. No, I don't lose.
Is she 8 now? She's 8, right?
No, we were playing Wii tennis. And Leah legitimately beat me. Like, I did not let her win, and I fucking flipped. Like, I had to go in the room for a while.
You're raising a great kid.
No, I'm raising a winner. I'm raising a winner, a champion.
It's okay to lose. Do it with class and dignity.
It's never okay to lose.
So when she sets a fire in her classroom because she gets the second highest grade in the class,
no,
because she can't handle coming in second because of you.
It's all about winning. Losers get nowhere.
Ryan, step in and father these children, please.
I'm just kidding. I didn't. I was actually like, wow, Leah, you legit. I had to really tell her that I did not let her win. And I was proud of her for beating me. But then I beat her ass 10 games after that.
You beat your children? You heard that. Yeah. He beats his children.
Let me clarify, people.
Somebody will cut this at that exact moment and say Chris Stacy beats his kids.
And I'm sure they'll cut out a few things from my opening segment and also say I'm racist. So I'm fucked either way.
We're canceled.
You're canceled. Okay. We're canceling the end of the show here. Thank you for listening to episode.
Are you going through puberty this week?
My mouth is really dry because I didn't bring any Gatorade up here. I need my Gatorade.
All right, get to your kid and wife.
You know you got to go beat yours.
That is not funny. I would never touch my wife that way.
in Wii tennis.
Ryan doesn't have a wife, so let's think about what he means.
Well, before we actually wrap up, because now we're speaking of America Says, and because I don't know if you guys watch Family Feud, especially the Steve Harvey version, it's fucking dirty. Like you can't watch it. It's
dirty. It's not a family show.
You can't watch that shit with your kids.
Half the answers are like pee-pee or ding-a-ling.
Like the other day, they said, why would a man remarry his ex-wife? And one dude was like, the sex. And when they flipped the board, it said her vajayjay. That was the actual answer. You got to put up there.
You got to YouTube some of the outtakes of that show where like they just let Steve Harvey go on and on over something. It's hilarious.
But we were watching America Says before, which is kind of a knockoff, in my opinion, of Family Feud, because it's kind of a similar scenario.
Not at all.
Where
I thought so too.
They poll people and you have to guess their top answers. Like that's basically the Family Feud. But anyway, like things you like to do to your meat, and it was like grilling,
there was a B up there,
seasoning, and there was no B. But I said if this was Family Feud, beat would definitely be.
Oh, absolutely, they would allow it. They would absolutely allow it.
You can't have any pudding if you don't beat your meat.
I think my dog's sick right now. I gotta go check her out.
All right, so let's wrap up the show here. Thank you very much for listening to episode 178 of the NYYST podcast. Follow us on Twitter because we've lost like 200 followers for some reason.
Yeah,
I don't know what the fuck is going on there. Maybe it's a lack of content. The porn bots are getting erased. Maybe people just realize we suck. I don't know. But please follow us on Twitter at NYY Sports Talk. Stack Guy Rye.
Go Yanks.
Chris, say goodbye.